Let's move on. We got a big story to start off the hour. The crisis over the shortage of baby formula. This month, the out-of-stock rate hit an astounding 43%, leaving many parents scrambling. Relief could be in sight after the FDA cleared the way for the nation's leading supplier to restart production at its Michigan plant. Still, it could take up to 2 months for that formula to actually hit store shelves. And parents have been telling us about their desperate search for supplies in the meantime. Here's what we've learned.
It's hard physically, mentally, financially. Sometimes I do cry at night.
It's definitely stressful knowing that, if we can't do breast milk, that there might not be an option for her.
It's like a scavenger hunt every week.
We'll literally waste a whole tank of gas in a day trying to find formula and maybe only find one can.
You show up at the parking lot, you've kind of got this hope, and you turn the corner into the baby food and formula aisle, and it's just absolutely barren. And it breaks your heart a little bit more every time.
It's crazy. It was like the toilet paper and the sanitizer when everybody was looking for toilet paper and sanitizer. Gone off the shelves.
He needs formula. I just don't understand why it's taking so long.
When my daughter doesn't drink the whole bottle, I'm like, oh my God, she just wasted like 2-3 ounces. I'm like, that was like a scoop that we could have saved.
Boy.
They don't call it liquid gold for nothing.
Right.
No.
American Academy of Pediatrics spokesperson and pediatrician Dr. Alanna Levine joins us now with more on this. I want to talk about what parents can do if they have no formula at all, but let's talk about the other situation first, which is you go to the store and the formula that you usually have is not there, so you have to make a switch. How much can you switch, and what are the risks of doing so?
Right, so we're actually in a crisis situation, right? So the advice during a crisis situation is different than under normal circumstances. So parents really need to find an FDA-approved formula that is appropriate for their child. So if you have a child that doesn't have food allergies or special health needs, buy the formula that you can find on the shelves. And if that means you have to switch every couple days, I'm okay with that. I think we really have to balance adequate nutrition with safety right now.
If you have a particular formula that your kids are really stuck on and you're running out and you can't find replacements, is it okay to dilute the formula in the short term in the hopes that you'll find stuff in the medium term?
I'm going to give you a hard no on that. It is really dangerous to dilute formula. You impact the nutrition, right? So you're diluting the actual essential nutrients that the baby's getting, and that can lead to growth and development problems. In addition to which, you're totally throwing off the electrolyte imbalance, and those electrolytes are critical and can lead to major health problems like seizures, for example.
Can you believe that we're even in this situation?
Gayle,
I mean, as a doctor, can you even believe that in the United States of America in 2022, you're sitting here having this conversation?
It is unfathomable to me that we are actually here. I never in my 20 plus years of practice ever thought we'd arrive here.
But now, were you going to ask us about parents making their own formula? Because now some parents are saying, you know what, I'll just make my own. I'll go online and get a recipe.
Right, and we used to do that generations and generations ago, but again, I'm going to caution parents against doing that.
Why?
Because formula is so complex. It's this delicate balance of nutrients and minerals, the balance between protein and fat. And if you throw that off, it could actually be dangerous to the baby. In addition to which, you risk contaminating the food sources that you're giving to your child.
What about parents introducing solids a little sooner than expected?
If you can't dilute it and you can't make your own,
we'll just introduce these solids. I think my baby can, nibble this down and hold it down.
Right.
Like my grandson's eating avocado and tomato and prunes. Is that good?
I love it. Avocado is one of my favorite first foods. So you can start to introduce what we call solid foods, which are really purees to babies, between 4 and 6 months. But the thing to note is that when they first start eating these solid foods, they're only eating a small amount. So the majority of the nutrition that they're getting is still from formula and breast milk. As your baby gets older and you approach a year, and they're really taking 3 balanced meals a day, then that's when the formula milk starts to become less important. But early on, we really need to have a supply of formula for those babies.
Okay, so a 1-year mark is when you can start weaning. That's what we're doing. We got 2 canisters left of a formula that we cannot refill, and so we're just accelerating the weaning process.
Right, and I think that for older babies, they're in that good situation, and we're in this crisis that I talked about before, right? So you can offer whole milk as you get closer to a year. In addition to which, there are toddler formulas.
Can you
for
give that to
older
the
babies,
baby?
Yes.
Can you
because-
give the toddler formula to the little babies, to the infants?
So I really would caution against doing it for the youngest babies. You can do it as you get older and get closer to a year, which really means that we have to sort of band together as a society. And for parents of kids that are older, don't buy too much formula. Just buy a 10, 14-day supply at a time and leave it for the most vulnerable babies who need it as their only source of nutrition.
You have a lot of no's today, Doctor. but it's really important information.
It is.
I'm not knocking it. I think it's important.
I think it's important to really understand the do's and the don'ts and really avoid the don'ts so that we can keep our babies
And that's why it's
healthy.
such a dire situation, because there's just not a lot of avenues that parents can take if they're in a crisis.
Just like the value of the formula on the shelves, this information is just as valuable. So we appreciate you coming this morning. Dr. Alanna Levine, thank you so much.